Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily Dvar Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it's for Tuesday, 9th day of January, 22nd day of Teves. Here we go. We're continuing on in our travel laws here for you, and let's give you some background first so that today's law will make sense. Generally speaking, it is considered a no-no to put garments under your head while sleeping. It's a little bit of a mystical thing. It's said to cause forgetfulness in our learning, and we don't fully understand why. But it's a no-no to fold up, let's say, a sweater and sleep on top of your sweater as a pillow or whatever. We just don't use clothes in that way in this religion. Same thing, by the way, if it's someone else's sweater, you don't fold up a piece of clothing and then use it as your pillow. If you have a pillow that you're sleeping on and there's a folded up sweater underneath the pillow, a lot of the rabbis say, oh, well, that's fine. That's not really as big a deal. And if you're just kind of resting your head sideways, this is going to affect plane travel in just a second when we get to that. So if you're resting your head sideways and there's just a sweater there kind of propping up your head, that's considered okay too, because that's not like really sleeping on your folded up garment. Incidentally, again, for mystical reasons, a new garment that had never been worn before is totally fine to be under your head. An old garment that's now used for other things, like it's now used as a towel because it's a worn out t-shirt or something, so that's okay under your head also. So, and one more before we get to the airplane, if you want to doze off just on your sleeve, just like that, that's not exactly considered like sleeping on your clothing, and that's considered fine too. So when you're on an airplane and you just feel like you just need that extra scrunch under your head just to make you a little more comfortable, and you want to fold up your sweater and put that behind your head, so that's okay if you're just dozing off on the airplane, because that's not like a full-fledged sleep like going to sleep on a bed. If you really are going to sleep, though, it's not just a doze off, but you're going to sleep, you're geared up and you're going to sleep for 5 hours on that airplane, then yeah, you should not be using your clothing in that situation. If it's just to rest a little bit and just, go like that, then it's okay. But if it's a full-fledged sleep, then the answer is no. If the garment is hanging on a hook, and so it's basically like, it's not totally under your head, it's hanging elsewhere, but your head will just lean back on it, then we consider that totally okay. Now on to other halachas, and these are the halachas about eating on an airplane. Jews wait, a lot of Jews wait 6 hours between eating fleischiks and then eating milchiks afterwards. So on an airplane, same rule applies. And you got to watch the clock carefully, especially since time zones are changing. If they serve you a fleishik meal, then you got to wait 6 hours, if that's the amount of time you wait, a full 6 hours, until you eat dairy after you've been fed a meat meal. And you can't assume that just because they served you a kosher meal, that means it was totally, that the airline decided to wait 6 hours. That's on you. You're the Jew trying to keep halacha. It's up to you to watch that there's really a full 6 hours between the meat meal that they served you and the dairy meal that they serve you now. Again, don't assume just because they're serving you kosher meals that means the people serving it to you are waiting 6 hours. And incidentally, the little bit of sleep that you did in between the two meals, that doesn't really affect the timing. You can't say, well, I slept, so it's like a whole new thing because I took a long nap in between. There is such talk amongst the rabbis, but Rav Belsky paskins for everybody and says, no. You still got to wait 6 hours even if you slept a little bit on the airplane in between. You wait 6 hours anyway. Lastly, food that's placed under a bed is considered a no-no to eat. Again, for mystical reasons, food placed under a bed should not be eaten. So what if it's put under an airplane seat? Can you then not eat it because it was under a airplane seat, which is like a bed? So the answer is it's okay, because we don't really view the airline seat as a bed. I know people sleep in their airline seat, but it's not a bed. So food that was placed in your carry-on under your seat, totally fine to eat it afterwards. Thanks for logging on. I'll log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.